You are listening to Rewritten Fates, a dark fantasy romance series. Book 1, The Condemned Duchess. Chapter 14, The Duke's Gamble. For several seconds after Alaric spoke, the council chamber did not move. It was not the polite stillness of court etiquette. It was the stunned, airless silence of a room realizing that something dangerous had just happened. The Saintess had expected cooperation. Instead, she had received open public opposition from the one man in the kingdom powerful enough to make the moment matter. I felt the shift in pressure like the air before a lightning strike. Nobles leaned toward one another, their whispers sounding like the rustle of dry leaves. Council members exchanged wary, wide-eyed glances. Even the guards near the heavy oak doors had gone rigid. Alaric had not merely refused the Saintess. He had challenged the divine hierarchy. And in this world, such challenges were the seeds of civil war. The Saintess recovered quickly. Too quickly. Her expression smoothed into that familiar, compassionate mask that had made her a living icon. But the faint tightening of her knuckles as she clasped her hands did not escape my notice, nor, I suspected, the Duke's. "You believe the ritual was manipulated, Duke Viremont?" the king asked. His voice was calm, almost entertained, as if he were watching a particularly high-stakes play. Alaric did not rush to answer. He stepped forward half a pace, a subtle movement that placed his shoulder between me and the rest of the room. It was a claim of territory, a claim of responsibility. "I believe," Alaric said, his voice resonant and steady, "that the ritual was conducted with a haste that borders on negligence. I doubt any procedure that seeks a verdict before it seeks the truth." A murmur rippled through the pews. No one spoke to the Saintess this way. The Saintess tilted her head, a silver crucifix at her throat catching the morning sun. "The Saintess order has protected this kingdom's soul for centuries, Your Grace. Are you suggesting our methods are suddenly insufficient?" "I am suggesting," Alaric replied, his golden eyes unblinking, "that last night your methods revealed nothing but your own uncertainty." I resisted the urge to wince. This was turning into a political spectacle. The Saintess's gaze sharpened, the benevolent mother mask slipping just enough to show the predator beneath. "That is precisely why a second, more rigorous ritual is necessary, to provide the clarity the Duke so clearly craves." I decided then that I had been silent long enough. "Forgive me," I said, my voice cutting through the tension. Alaric's elbow nudged mine, a silent command to stay back, but I ignored it. "Is there a limit, Saintess, to how many times a woman must be set on fire for the sake of your clarification?" The chamber froze. Lord Hadrian looked as though he might have a stroke. But the king threw back his head and laughed. "I like her," the king remarked to his advisors. "She is refreshingly honest for someone currently standing on the edge of a blade." "Your Majesty," Hadrian began, but the king waved him down. Yes, we are all very serious men, Hadrian. Let us get to the heart of it." The king's gaze moved to Lyra. "Well, Saintess, what is this historically significant magic you've discovered?" Lyra folded her hands into her sleeves. "After reviewing the forbidden archives, I believe the Duchess carries a remnant of the silver bloodline, the line of the so-called veiled goddess." The words landed like a physical weight. One older council member actually crossed himself. Silver bloodline. It wasn't just a rumor anymore. It was an official accusation. And what does that mean for the crown? The king asked. It means, the Saintess said softly, that the Duchess carries a power that predates your throne, a power that by its very nature recognizes no authority but its own. The chamber erupted. I could feel the balance of power tilting. I wasn't a criminal anymore. I was a rival. The king raised a hand for silence. And your solution, Saintess? The ritual. One final time. If the silver light is heretical, it must be purged. Beside me, Alaric's voice was a blade of iron. No. The word struck the room like a thrown dagger. The Saintess's eyes flashed. Your Grace? The Duchess will not undergo another ritual. Not today, not ever. Hadrian exploded from his seat. You cannot refuse a divine inquiry, Viremont. I just did. My household is sovereign, and until you can prove a crime rather than a genealogy, the Duchess stays with me. The Saintess turned slowly toward the king, her voice a poisonous honey. Your Majesty, if she truly carries the silver blood, then her loyalty to your throne is questionable. A second sun cannot rise in the same sky. The king leaned back, his eyes moving to me. Well, Duchess, what do you say to that? Do you claim this ancient blood? I took a slow, steady breath. I knew the Duke wanted me to stay silent, but I knew this court. If you don't define yourself, they will do it for you. I believe, I said, looking the king dead in the eye, that magic belongs to whoever is strong enough to survive it. My loyalty is not to a ghost story, but to the man who didn't let you burn me last night. The king's eyebrows shot up. He smiled, a slow, dangerous grin. The most honest answer I've heard all morning. Meeting adjourned. The room descended into chaos as the king stood and swept out. Relief and fury warred on the faces of the council. As Alaric led me out into the corridor, the noise of the vultures faded. I exhaled, my knees finally feeling weak. Well, that was unpleasant. Alaric glanced down at me. You enjoyed that, didn't you? The defiance. A little. It's better than crying. You shouldn't have, he said, his voice dropping to a low, urgent vibration. He stopped walking and turned me to face him. That was the easy part, Elara. I frowned. Easy? I almost had my head on a block. You've made an enemy of the Saintess and half the court. That I can handle. His golden eyes were dark with an intensity that made my heart skip. The concerning part is the other half of the room. Why? Because, he whispered, the other half is beginning to believe you are exactly what she said. And in this kingdom, belief is the spark that starts a revolution. And revolutions, they burn everyone, Elara, especially the ones they were meant to save. I looked back at the closed doors of the chamber, realizing that the Villainess was no longer just a character in a book. I was becoming a flag. And flags are always the first things to get torn down in a storm. But in the royal court, nothing is ever truly over. Secrets move in the shadows, and every choice rewrites fate. Continue the story in the next episode of Rewritten Fates, and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next.